something up.
Should we cancel?
Nope, I'm going ahead and just starting fresh. Did you find your book?
No,
Really? Huh.
they're all tiny pictures.
Oh. Alright. New stream. Hold on, guys. I'm just bringing it up. I've got like 3 different windows open, trying to coordinate things between all different stuff. Live stream.
Tell me when.
Alright.
All right, what?
Hold on. Sorry guys, we are still here. It's just gotta start over. Can you guys see us? Is it working? Let's see. Okay, Adam, can you? Yeah, I think we're good. Of course, we're good just in time for the wind to pick up, and I hear thunder. So who knows? How's everybody doing? Can you hear us? Is everything good? Adam, go ahead and move your hand in front of the camera, please. All right, wait, let's see if that comes up. Yeah, all right, I've got you.
I'm making shapes in the house of dance.
How about now? Anybody seeing it now? Oh. Zandy's got it. Alright, they see hands. Okay, we're back!
Okay. So, couldn't find an example in my Muka books of the Slav epic big enough to show you here. So anyways, I'm just going to draw death, and we're going to use the idea of the value scale that I gave you a second ago. Okay? Or I'm going to try. Going to rough out the shape for you.
Dan screams, "It's begun!" So's the storm that's coming in, so who knows, Dan, anything can happen.
as usual with an idea, I just rough out some shapes, rough idea of a pose. Get it where I want, and then we'll slowly go in and correct things like proportions and sizes of shapes like eyes and what have you. Alright, that's enough for me to start with.
You want to hold it up for the camera so they can see it a little more closely and not at the angle? There you go. Okay, thanks. How many times has Adam practiced drawing heads to reach the specific overall shape that has been part of his style? I don't know that Adam sits and practices. I guess you used to. When we first started dating, you would hang out in front of the TV with your sketchbook and just fill sketchbooks.
I'm 53. I've been drawing since I was 4, so 49 years. I've been practicing 49 years. Whether it's in sketch form or whether it's, just drawing for a final assignment or project.
That's funny. Before you erased, I hopped on with will the needed eraser jack up the cover, and then you just wiped it out. Tim Lawler says it looks beautiful, and it's like, yeah, now it's erased, all gone. Now Adam will start working on Poison Ivy. Oof, we're gonna have thunderstorms for over 2 hours. What? How many hours is that? As in, how many hours has Adam been drawing heads? Countless? Tens of thousands? You gotta stop and think about Adam's in his 33rd professional year working in comics. So if he started drawing comics professionally when he was 18, he's been drawing since he was 3 or 4 years old. I mean, there's a point where it's not even necessarily about counted hours so much as accumulated life experience when your entire life has been about drawing.
Yeah, it's a lifetime.
Is there any character that Adam doesn't enjoy drawing? Yes, there is.
Yes, Guy Gardner. I started out on Justice League, and God bless Kevin McGuire, but I hated drawing Guy Gardner. And, if you ask me to draw Batman with a pencil, I hate that too. I like drawing Batman as Inky the human silhouette. I'm a big fan of Batman just being a big black shape with 2 eyes and a lower half of a human face. And all those people that love drawing Batman, where you can see his gray tights and you delineate all the lines of his cowl. Well, I'm glad you enjoy that. I can't do it.
Someone just picked up on the fact that my saying that it was a lifetime of drawing was a tie-in with drawing death. Well, that's actually quite observant. Good one.
I am often accidentally profound.
Except I said it, so off you go.
Wow, go to hell.
Another death reference.
Yeah. A death threat.
Is there one piece that just came together perfectly that you were able to knock it out with record speed?
No. Everything for me has always been... there are 2 kinds of artists in the world as far as I'm concerned. And there are the happy idiots that just stumble across artwork and they just leap out of bed in the morning going, I can't wait to draw, And then there are the Vincent van Goghs who are constantly suffering and struggling and are in pain because of the artwork. And I am definitely in the Van Gogh category. Nothing has ever come easily. It's always been like taking a hill in a Korean War, as I always say. It's long and seems fruitless. Nothing seems to come easily as far as I'm concerned. And I really am jealous and resentful of the people for whom it seems to come easy.
That being said, there are 2 covers that you've done while I've been paying attention on the scene, whatever you want to say, that you did in record time, that you loathe, but I think were very successful, and your fans actually really love them. And while I think you think they were unsuccessful because they were done more quickly than some of the other pieces you've done, I think that spontaneity read in at least one of them and contributed to the success. And I'm talking about your kabuki cover, the one kabuki cover you did for David Mack. You did that very loosely. The drawing was tight, don't get me wrong, but the drawing was very tight. It was a beautiful grayscale with ink. You were not happy with that cover, and it was a quick one. You did it over the course of maybe a couple of days, and to this day I always feel like you really captured what David Mack was always going for it with kabuki. Is there a female you've never enjoyed drawing?
Which blade?
Yeah.
Which blade? I love drawing beautiful women. I love drawing strong female characters. All of her spoogy, H.R. Giger costume bits have always just vexed me. And I even did a couple of covers, and fortunately I didn't have to draw her. I just drew the Sarah Pacelli cop version. I think the only time I've ever drawn her professionally was on that one Wizard cover.
No, you did 3 Witchblades for Nick Brucci. Remember? There's the one with the police tape, and maybe you committed to 3 and you just did 1. I don't know.
I did 2.
Okay.
But in my mind, as far as I know, I've only drawn Witchblade with the H.R. Giger.
Oh, with all the junk on it.
All the junk on it once, and it was a chore.
Gotcha.
It was an absolute ass ache of a chore.
Right. I'm actually going to step away from the computer for a minute. Since we have thunderstorms rolling in, I'm going to go get our dogs some chill-out drugs so they don't lose their minds as the...
Can I have some?
No. No. You have work to do.
Oops. Allison, help.
What do you need?
I just bumped the camera. Tell me if it's...
I'm back.
Hang on, I bumped the camera.
Let's see. No chill-out drugs for the dogs. Oh, it's actually not bad. Yeah,
Okay.
You're okay.
I'm gonna go in with...
It is focused on Hypergen's left boob. There you go.
Okay. It's a death drawing, so no boobs.
That's right.
Now I'm going to go in and lightly ink her with the 02 micron, just so I can completely erase the pencils before I do any Copic work. Alright, so Allison's gone, it's just us. Isn't she a fucking drive-through wine country? Jesus Christ. Now, because wow, I'm so tired. Death, because Death is very pale with dark hair, I'm not going to do a lot of detail. I mean, I'm just going to give her, like, the hint of nostrils, the eyes and the eyelashes and the lips, which we'll do as, black lipstick. But we're not going to do a lot of other stuff. We're not going to put a shadow on the side of her nose. Again, why? Because of that value range that I talked about at the beginning of the broadcast. I always found it interesting that, you know, with the Sandman comics, Death and Dream, when you read the comics, they, you know, because they are embodiments of, you know, human, human things, like dying or dreaming. If you read, the stories, like, during Elizabethan times, Death and Dream were dressed in not Victorian, but Shakespearean clothes. Their outfits change, reflecting on the era that the characters are depicted in. But the characters are kind of now locked in, 90s, late 80s, 90s goth clothing. Death and Dream have not updated their looks, for the 21st century. But I think it's kind of cute and funny. Always have to leave room for her Ankh. Gotta remember to give her that heavy sort of Egyptian eyeshadow look. Chris Bachalo owns her. I mean, all the excellent artists that created her and have done such wonderful stuff with her. But my God, what Death, The High Cost of Living with Chris Bachalo, he, in feline terms, peed all over the character and owns it forever. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I'm back.
So let's not talk about Allison anymore.
Chris Bachalo peed on me and ruined me forever. There you go. That's what I've missed.
No. We had a whole conversation about you.
All right. So let's see. Drugging out the dogs. Dogs are taken care of, and they went potty, which is good.
Okay. So light inking with the thinnest micron pigment I have. Why? Because that way, when I go in and start doing the Copic values, there's less ink on the paper to smear. My particular technique is to do it this way: pencil, very light inks, Copic values, and then final inks. And that way, there's less smudging. Depending on the type of paper you use, the climate where you're working, it's a little bit humid here because we live in Atlanta, Georgia. Just because it works for me doesn't mean it'll work for you. The one thing about anybody's own personal artistic journey is finding what works for you. I am a comfort-based life form. If I'm uncomfortable, I cannot produce any kind of work. I have to be in a comfortable chair. The temperature has to be just so that I'm not like sweating my fat ass off. The light has to be just right. Normally, music or television or movies will be playing because I cannot work in silence. You have to do what's ever best for you. Thunder in the distance.
All right. Shall I close the window?
No, you're fine.
I'm talking in terms of the dogs.
No, I think.
For the noise, they'll be all right.
Have the dogs jumped?
Yes.
Then close the window.
Okay. Hang on, guys. You're good.
All right. So you can see here, there's just enough. There's just just enough here for me to continue working. You know, and in some crazy person's book, you go, it's a lovely drawing, finished, it's done, sign it. But I am never happy, so. Alright, so I'm going to go in with some black values, like her hair and her shirt and her wrist, her bracelets and stuff like that. So, Copic sketch pen, 110 special black. It's the blackest black they make. Blackety black, y'all.
Kara comments that we have some would-be dogs. You know, it's ironic, for years, literally years, Luna was the only dog who was afraid of loud noises, and that only started when she was 9? Like, they did fine forever. And Luna got scared. And just in the last handful of months, Luna has stopped being afraid. She's completely non-reactive to the point where I wondered if maybe she had gone deaf. But in her stead, the other 3 dogs are now all very jumpy. They never used to be. They used to be fine. So I don't know what goes on. But, you know, drugs for me and all my meds. Does Adam draw from the shoulder?
No, I don't. I like I said, because I'm not taught professionally, I've just developed my own style, and I really incorrectly draw from the wrist.
And I think that's part of why you draw so close to your paper, because you draw from the wrist. I think if you drew from further back, you probably wouldn't be quite so hunched over your table.
But that's something I can try later in life. Someday I will go to school.
No, why waste the time? You'll go to school, point and laugh.
I wanna go to school and meet hot chicks and party.
Oh, there you go. You know, I hear that's all the rage this year with COVID and everything.
Wow.
Way to bring it down.
Yeah, that's my wife. The cold cup of coffee I married.
Okay, light to dark this time. Yes, Adam always works light to dark. I'm the one that usually goes dark to light.
But as you can see, I'm blocking out the absolute blacks first. Again, in accord with that thing I mentioned earlier, which was, you know, the value system.
Maria, if you want to learn how to draw from the shoulder, the first lesson they teach you is you take like a piece of charcoal or a pastel, something soft and smudgy, tape it to the end of a broomstick, hold the other end of the broomstick, and draw with it. Because now you've got to work your whole arm while you're drawing. Yeah, seriously, that's what we did in art school. See, you don't want to go, it's stupid. You've got to move your whole arm, and it'll make a hot mess. But that's how they got us to be more conscious of the fact that you work that whole shoulder, whether it's your right or your left, and they'll make you work both your right and your left, which is also very entertaining. Yeah, geez, exactly right. No one's art looked good that day. That was fine. But an interesting exercise like that. I will say the one thing I took away from art school, and I went to 2 different ones, was some of the more creative approaches people would tell you to work or have you try that I would have never thought of on my own. Like, we would do life drawing classes all with our unnatural hands. So if you're right-handed, you work with your left. They were always suggesting you try something incredibly uncomfortable, and every once in a while you would do it and you'd go, well, wow, I loved that. And then you'd have that new thing in your toolbox to use that you might have not tried otherwise.
Is that why I'm comfort obsessed? Is because
Probably.
I have not gone to college?
I don't know. You might just be comfort obsessed because that's who you are. Let's see. Adam's never sketched holding the pencil with his fingertips like an art teacher. No. And you know what? Almost no one does. Yeah, I had teachers that taught me that, and I don't do it. And it's not really practical for some of the small detail work that we talk about
But
doing.
I've seen many great artists sketch that way.
On a comic page? Working on tiny detail? Really?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Again, it's whatever works for you.
Right. Right.
I because I'm self-taught, I will never, ever, ever be a purist. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way. It's just what looks good.
Okay, so using the value system you posted, you blocked out the extreme darks and then dropped in the lights. Is that correct?
Well, I established the forms, and now I'm dropping in the absolute darks.
And this is going to be a unique situation because death really is about absolutes. But
Well, that's I just got that. Wow,
thanks.
that's profound.
Thanks.
Wow, you don't have to say anything for the rest of the week. You've nailed your weekly quota of profundity. No, it's why I thought, like, since I was doing this death piece for Dan today, I thought, well, that's a good example. It's a good reason to talk about values. Like another time on one of these broadcasts, I'll talk about doing everything, in high key, meaning doing a piece entirely
like really high blown out
in the high key end of the spectrum. It's all a matter of your particular style and what you're trying to impart and what you're going for. A really good artist can take any end of that value scale that I just showed you on the screen and create an image out of it. And sometimes artists will do it as a challenge. They'll sit there and say, okay, today I'm going to do this piece and I'm only going to use these values, X, Y, and Z. And they do that to challenge themselves. And I think they're amazing when they do that.
A couple of people are nervous. Aren't you afraid of accidentally smudging the commission behind the sketch cover?
Well, now I am.
And I was about to say absolutely not, because it's marker and it's not going to smudge. Like, it's on there. And Adam hasn't applied any pencil or any sort of medium that's going to pick up and move.
Yeah. Oh, you mean smudge this?
Yeah. No, it's you can lick it. It's fine. Well, don't go polishing the boobs. Leave those alone. And then, does Adam ever sneak any little messages or images into your work, a hidden dog, etc.? No.
I used to, and then I grew up. I thought it was like, oh, ha, I'm drawing Wonder Woman flying over some Girl Scouts. I'm going to sneak something, witty into one of the street signs in the background. And my editor was like, be better than that. Be mature. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Oh, you lost us. Let's see. Hold on.
Should I stop?
No. Let's see. Is anyone seeing us? No, he was a really good editor, actually. Nope, we're back. And some people say it's fine. All right, so it's a mixed bag. Adam, just keep doing your thing.
All right, now, here's Death, sort of just running her fingers through her hair, sitting on her knees, with her elbow rested on her knees. To some people, you could sit there and say, hey, that could be done. That could be a finished piece of artwork because you know who it is. With using just these two values, 0 and 100, I have described a character.
Why don't you hold it up for the camera for them at this stage so they can see what you're talking about?
But I'm going to take it a little further. Not too much further, like that terrible piece that I did for the Death Gallery 25 years ago. But, I can come in here and mess around with a few values just to give it a little more depth. But I'm only going to use like C1 through at most C4 because Death is very pale.
Has anyone ever commissioned you to do an anime or manga character at cons? Back when you were still doing them at cons? Yeah.
I did Faye from Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop at I believe it was a WonderCon.
Yep.
One time. I once did a Gen 13 double page splash for a swimsuit special, and I did that just in the style of Shiro.
Did you do an Adam Warren character?
Empowered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did Empowered once.
You've done some Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, which is, Neo. It's
Right.
Neo anime because it's U.S. based.
You've done some Miyazaki stuff.
Oh yeah, right. I've done one or two
Kiki's Delivery Service.
Kiki's Delivery Service. This is just C0, just to give a little hint.
Oh, yeah, you did Yuki Mori. That was great. You know,
I did Yuki Mori from.
that Yuki Mori wasn't a commission though.
That was you saying you're in a rut. Why don't you draw something fun for yourself? So I decided to draw a character from my favorite anime, which was Space Battleship Yamato.
And I'll always tell Adam, draw something you like because it'll always come out 100 times better than, draw that thing that's next on the list. Because you don't often get to draw some of those weird things that you like personally.
Space Battleship Yamato is not weird.
No, not
It's
weird.
not
I should say not mainstream. At least here in the
It's
U.S.
just- Don't make fun of the things I like.
Ghost in the Shell?
Oh, once or twice I've done a major Kusanagi. Once or twice. I've never drawn Batu or anybody else.
Yeah.
Can people see what I'm doing with the C0 here?
Or put it in really pale shadows. They're all just talking about Yamato now. Have you seen the re-release of Yamato? What is it called? It's
Space Battleship Yamato 2199.
Yeah.
Yes, my good friend the cosplayer Riddle got me copies from Japan. My wife had never seen it, and she was like, "What are you watching?" And I said, "This is the greatest reboot of anything ever, because it keeps all the cool stuff that I liked from when I was a kid